Star Wars fans, we must talk about some new cool stuff coming out for the Book of Boba Fett. There are 2 new TV spots that I want to break down, plus we have new posters and an official episode count. Let's get into it. What is up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Avengers Tower as per usual. And man, exciting times for the nerdy among us, which I think is all of us. Hawkeye is currently airing on Disney Plus. The hype for Spider-Man No Way Home is through the roof. And right around the corner, after all of that is done, we have the Book of Boba Fett, a hugely anticipated Star Wars story. Now, there are a couple of new trailers. I want to sort of break down these trailers because they actually have stuff that I think goes together. So let's look at this first trailer here. Now, this dropped, I believe, either Friday or Saturday. So I want to take you through this one. And again, we'll go over the next one because there are pieces from this one that I think show up in the other one as well. Here we go. Yeah.
I am Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett.
Okay, so super cool. Now, I'm looking at the version of this that is, the square version, the social media version. There are other versions of this as well, but I want to stop here because what I think we're looking at here is these 2 dudes in Mos Eisley trying to get information on Boba or what he is currently doing. Okay, and then the beginning shot, if you look at this, it looks like Fennec is bringing one of those dudes into Jabba's palace. That's the shot right here. So what I'm sort of thinking here is whoever these guys are, they're pirates, mercenaries, or bounty hunters hired by one of the other gangsters. I think we'll actually see which gangster in a second here. It's that Hammerhead character. And that character is hired to do something to undermine Boba on Tatooine. Captured by Fennec, brought before Fennec, and then we'll show you in the other one here where we follow up with this, where Boba takes that character with Fennec and some Gamorrean guards, right to the boss, presumably, okay? Pretty interesting. This is a shot here of them just on speeder bikes. We think those are Gamorrean guards. Here we go. Again, these guys here, doing some crazy parkour in Mos Eisley. Boba being handed his helmet by the droid. There it is, Mos Eisley. These 2 Twi'leks. This shot's kind of cool. This is the hangar shot, which is actually from Battlefront. Some people were saying it's referenced there. You can't see it too well in the social media version of this, but he's got this gaffy stick and he's wearing the robe. So in the full version of this trailer, you can see he is actually wearing the robe, which indicates that this is possibly a flashback, and this will show what Boba was doing after he sees Din Djarin leave the planet, and he's going to go get his armor. So this is him maybe for the first time coming back to Slave One, which presumably was parked at Jabba's palace ever since he was eaten by the Sarlacc. Pretty interesting. And that's him at the dinner table, for Thanksgiving. Again, talking to the different people. We've seen this before. He's trying to set up a new way to rule, a cooperation between all of these different, species and intergalactic powers out there in the galaxy. Really interesting. Super cool. Let's go to the next one, though. This one, very cool as well. And again, ties into the one we just watched. So here we go. Music is so sick in this one. There it is. There's that dude.
I intend to rule with respect.
Woo! So super cool. Love the music in that. But let's go into what I'm talking about here, okay? Boba putting on the helmet. Seen this before, obviously.
Obviously.
Now, the Sands of Tatooine, right? Left for Dead in the Sands of Tatooine. We, again, believe that he is saved by the Sand People. I think there's something to that, and I think that it'll have a big part of why he wants to unify Tatooine. Now, this shot here appears to be him in Bacta. We think that he's got a little Bacta tank in Jabba's palace. His eyebrows are growing back. He's healing himself up. He looks a lot better than what we saw in Mando Season 2. This is that Hammerhead villain, said to be one of the main rivals to Boba and what he's trying to do with his new enterprise. And then this is a shot with Boba, Gamorreans, and Fennec with one of those guys that we saw hopping around Mos Eisley and then being brought in front of Boba, we think, by Fennec at Jabba's palace. So we think there's a little bit of a story going on there where they're going to torture him or figure out that, yes, he is working for this guy, and then go bring him in front of that guy. Super badass. Boba going crazy. Blasting, shooting away. Super freaking cool stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So that's pretty sweet, right? Getting new footage is always fun, and we can see a little bit of the story perhaps being explained here. Now, this is pretty interesting. We got a drop of 2 new posters, which we will take a look at. They're pretty cool. But here's something that's kind of a little bit of a bummer for some folks. It says here a 7-episode original series begins on December 29th. So I don't know what to think about that. Look, I was told it was going to be at least 8 episodes. Some people were even speculating it could be 9 episodes. So I'm going to be honest. I don't know exactly what to think about that. On the one hand, it's like, okay, that'll probably be all killer, no filler, kind of like what Rodriguez said, and perhaps it's better that they would cut some of the episodes and just go with this straight 7. I'm going to be a little disappointed if the episodes themselves are like a half hour or shorter. If they're really pushing up towards that 45-minute to an hour mark, I'm going to be really, really satisfied because that's a lot of content. But if we get kind of shorter episodes and we're hitting around the 30-minute mark and stuff like that, I don't know. For me, that'll be a little bit disappointing. That is just not the level of content I was really hoping for. I still have incredibly high hopes for Boba, but it is worth mentioning that going down to 7 episodes is at least a question mark for me. I'm a little bit like, oh, okay. Well, let's hope they're really long, right? As far as the posters themselves, these are freaking amazing posters. I mean, this literally, I just want this on my wall. The red with that orange behind it, just popping like that. The whole suit saturated really nicely, popping. Looks badass with that pose. His classic rifle, just kind of chilling there. The sands of Tatooine all around him. And then, of course, you have the counterpart in Fennec Shand, who also looks incredibly badass. Super excited for the show. Now, before we get out of here, I want to talk about some seemingly bad Star Wars news that is out there with regards to Rangers of the New Republic, and I haven't really made a video about it, so I want to kind of go over that now and just take you through my sort of thinking of how the Star Wars content is all going to fit together after this. Because Book of Boba Fett is pretty interesting in the fact that we really thought Mando Season 3 was up next, and in some ways, this was always told, or sort of sold to us, Book of Boba Fett, was sold to us as Mando 2.5. That this is a version of that same universe. Rodriguez coming in, you're obviously going to get a full story of Boba Fett, but there are crazy rumors that Din Djarin's going to show up, Baby Yoda's going to show up, Luke Skywalker's going to show up, so that in some ways, this is sort of like a side quest, side mission, setting some stuff up with Boba Fett, which I absolutely love, but it's going to end in a way that takes us towards Mandalorian Season 3, okay? Now, recently, it was announced that Rangers of the New Republic not being currently worked on right now. Now, you can think of this in a couple of different ways. You can say, oh no, another one's gone, Kathy and creative having issues and all that sort of stuff. I think the reality of the situation is that show without Cara Dune, who was going to be at least one of the stars of that show, that without that character, that show is just really not going to work. There's not enough there to work on its own. Now, what Kathy said about this was that a lot of those stories are going to be reworked into the next iteration of Mandalorian. Now, what I took that to mean was that after Mandalorian Season 3, perhaps after Mandalorian Season 4, we are going to end The Mandalorian and do a new show, which is going to take a lot of those same characters from the Mandoverse and throw them all together. And I really and truly have been thinking for a long time that we are getting some kind of version of Heir to the Empire with Luke Skywalker, with Grand Admiral Thrawn, but with a lot of new characters that weren't around during the original Heir to the Empire series, which, was that classic Timothy Zahn series of novels. Okay, so we have characters like Ezra Bridger, we have characters like Ahsoka, we have characters like Grogu, and we're really heavily bringing in characters like Boba Fett and, well, other Mandalorians too, like Bo-Katan, right? So for me, the possibility of having all of those characters work together and perhaps even a young Ben Solo and have them come together to do this Heir to the Empire thing, I think it's fantastic. You've heard me talk a lot about it before. With the idea of Kathy saying that there's another iteration of The Mandalorian, that lines up with a lot of things we've been hearing from insiders that do think, yes, Mandalorian is going to end and have a new show, which that show will sort of morph into. And this is kind of what happens with Star Wars Rebels and Bad Batch. I mean, technically they're all new shows, but they really spin out of characters from Clone Wars. It's just kind of something that Dave really likes to do. So I'm all for it. I do hope, however, that Jon Favreau continues to be a big part of whatever's going on over there, continues to be a big part of Mandalorian Season 3 and whatever show comes after that. Because with him not actually doing the Rangers show, it feels like he's getting a little left out here. That was going to be his show. Dave's big show was going to be Ahsoka, and Rodriguez's show was obviously going to be Book of Boba Fett. So now, without John doing that, maybe he can just focus back completely on Mando, or maybe he's got something else, some other kind of project he would really like to do, or maybe his sights are just totally focused on what comes after Mandalorian. Hard to know for sure, ladies and gentlemen, but there are exciting things coming for Star Wars fans. Book of Boba Fett right around the corner. Starts streaming December 29th. I expect we'll get more little teases and, posters, TV spots, and things like that as we head closer to it. I am here for it. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think of the new trailers for Book of Boba Fett? Any new theories? Anything we missed in there? What do you think of the new posters? What do you think of the season only being 7 episodes? And of course, let me know what you think about Rangers of the New Republic ending, or rather not actually being a thing now. And do you think everything's going to be okay over there with the Mandoverse? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section below. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel to see more of our content pop up in your recommended feed. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video.